Hi, this is Pete May, President of GreenBiz Group, and I'm excited to be here today with Alpa Sutaria, Vice President and General Manager from the Coca-Cola Company. Alpa, welcome to GreenBiz Studio.
Thanks, Pete. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Great. And today we're going to be talking about plastic waste. So my first question to start out is, how is Coke addressing the issues associated with plastic waste?
Yeah. Well, Pete, let me set a little bit of the context. We know that plastic waste is a tremendous global challenge and a problem for many, many people around the world. Coca-Cola Company made a commitment back in 2018 and launched an initiative called the World Without Waste. And it's really our efforts to really start to drive a material change in the issue around plastic waste. So within that initiative, we've committed to do several different things. First and most urgent is to make sure that our portfolio of plastic packaging, actually all of our packaging, is 100% recyclable by 2025. So that's a big step that we can take, and we're very close to that goal already. Second, though, and very importantly, is that we've committed to make sure that up to half of our portfolio includes recycled materials, and that includes plastic, recycled plastic. And along those lines, I'm really excited to say that we have launched, just starting in February, a whole series of packages that are available regionally and then also in some cases nationally and those packages are 100% recycled PET. So in February, we've launched Coca-Cola and Dasani in some key markets around the world, around the United States. And coming later this summer, we'll actually be nationally available with 100% 13.2 ounce plastic package that's from 100% recycled PET for Coca-Cola and some of our associated brands like Coke Zero, Diet Coke, and some of the flavor variants there. So it's a big step, and we're really excited about that.
Yeah, well, that's great. So talk to me about, as we talk to companies about plastics. Some talk about it in terms of you're managing for risk. Sometimes you're leveraging an opportunity. Obviously, Coke, you have impacts upstream in terms of materials, downstreams in terms of plastic waste. Talk to us about how you manage the business case there and how you manage the tension around those things.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, Coca-Cola Company is a world-class consumer products company. And so we're always listening to our consumers. And from that standpoint, we really do believe that tackling issues around sustainability are part of our core mission and our values. And so from that standpoint, it's very much an opportunity. As a matter of fact, in February, we announced that we were transitioning a selection of plastic bottles from some of our largest brands in the United States to 100% rPET material or recycled plastic. And that is really because we're listening to our consumers and they're telling us that that's what they want. So making these changes, I think, keeps us not only, in sync with what our consumers want, but also it's the double benefit of addressing environmental concerns as we go. And so we've introduced, you may have seen, and I have some great samples here, our little 13.2 ounce bottle in 100% plastic, recycled plastic for Coca-Cola, and also Dasani in this 20 ounce size in select geographies. And that is, that's a big first step. When we are complete with that transition this year, we will have achieved delivering 20% recycled plastic use, which means that we're using 20% less new plastic or virgin plastic across the United States compared to 2018.
Yeah, interesting. So talk to us about, obviously you're the Coca-Cola Company, you're a global brand, you're a big target. And I think there's always going to be critics and advocates out there that will say you're not doing enough, it's not ambitious enough, and also, sometimes when you're launching one brand, there's a question, you're modifying one thing in the portfolio, is it enough to achieve scale? Talk about scale and ambition around World Without Waste, and what you think. Our community and consumers, what standards should they hold you to in terms of dealing with scale and ambition around your goals?
Yeah, it's a great question, Pete. I will tell you that, as everybody knows, Coca-Cola Company is one of the largest beverage companies in the world. And along with our scale comes a real opportunity to lead in this space. And we're committed to leading and using our scale for good. And so, when we make changes, even if it's regional, even if it's on one brand, the impact of that is really, really significant. As I said, just by making changes against these handful of brands in the United States is already moving the needle in a big way. And we're committed to continuing down this path as time goes by. The key, though, is we can only do as much as, the rest of the circular economy around, the closing the loop with plastic packaging and bringing it back in the form of clean, food grade, recycled plastic that we can use is really, really important. And that's not something that we alone can fix, but we really want to be a part of the solution. So we're partnering very closely with lots of different organizations, NGOs, policymakers, industry groups, and others to really drive some real changes in that space so that we can go faster.
Yeah, that's great, and it's going to be my closing question. Is we're at such an amazing pivotal moment around climate change, challenges to our planet here in 2021. And so I think it's important to ask, and as I'm really glad you brought up the community and the ecosystem, other companies, governments, nonprofits. So talk about why now is the moment, now is a compelling moment for Coca-Cola to work with that community and what you can accomplish, say, in the next year.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, Pete, that we've been working against sustainability and in particular around trying to achieve momentum to close the loop and achieve our World Without Waste goals for several years now. And we're seeing a lot of great activity and we're learning a lot from other markets around the world. As a matter of fact, once we roll out our changes this year in the United States, that makes 19 markets around the world where we are offering 100% recycled plastic packaging. But the reality is that it takes a village. And what we're seeing right now is that it feels like the critical mass is there. We're seeing a lot more of our industry partners and others engaged in really rolling up sleeves and looking at practical solutions to try to drive some change. And I think in the public consciousness across the United States, we're also seeing much more of an awareness around sustainability and what it means. And we certainly see that from our consumers. We see that from our stakeholders in and around the country as well. So it is a really important moment. And I think that we could potentially be at a tipping point where we see some real progress that starts to accelerate everybody's capabilities for the rest of the decade.
Yeah, well, that's great. So much doing such great work, but such a big problem, such a big challenge to address. We wish you luck in addressing that with speed. Alpa Sutaria from the Coca-Cola Company. Thanks for joining us on Green Biz Studio today.
Thank you. It was wonderful to talk with you, Pete.